So I'm requesting all of you, please put your hands together for Mr. Raman Kumar.
All right. Thank you very much, Sridhar and Harshvardhan, for those brilliant insights, and it was really lovely hearing both of you. Right. So I'm going to talk about how companies can basically think of scaling their service when it comes to enabling their customers, the experiences, how we can enhance them, and using the power of automation and AI. Very big words. I'll try to see what all I can speak about them. All right. Before we start, a very big thank you to everyone, first of all, for coming in for the event, right? And that too on time. And the second thank to all of you for being in your individual capacities, the kind of work that all of us do in our organizations, and connecting back to what Harshvardhan was saying, right? Trying to make sure that everyone is happy as our customers is a really tough job that all of us are there in the business. And cheers to the good work that all of us are doing, just to make sure that every Indian citizen, we collectively are representing multiple organizations here. So cheers to the good work that all of us are doing. And the last thanks that we say is for the extended Salesforce ecosystem that includes our esteemed customers, partners, developers, and we call everybody who is part of our Salesforce family as a trailblazer. So a big thank you for making us who we are today, right? Right. So that is me, Raman Kumar. I am a Service Cloud Specialist here at Salesforce, and I have been into the CRM domain for the last 12 and 13 years approximately, right? And just a forward-looking statement before I start, just to help you understand that since Salesforce is a publicly traded organization, so we request all our customers to take all your buying and purchasing decisions based on the features and functionalities which are currently available, and not to be dependent on things which are future coming in the roadmap, right? All right, so the agenda for today is very simple. I mean, I've kept it only 3 simple pointers. I'll not speak about a lot of gyan, as we call it, right? I'll speak about the shift in customer service in today, how things are changing today, specifically after the pandemic. A lot of things are changing, the customers' expectations, how the leaders in the organizations are expecting these tools to help them, right? And second, then I'll move into a very quick demo experience session, right? It's going to be a click through. I'll show you a couple of screens. I'll talk about it just to help you correlate with the concepts of AI and automation, which I plan to quickly cover in the session today, right? And finally, the latest buzzword that everyone is speaking about, I'll touch upon the concept of GPT, not just the generic GPT. We also recently launched something called as Einstein GPT. Einstein, as you would appreciate, happens to be a mascot from Salesforce when it comes to AI and automation, right? So the agenda is very simple. So let's start. All right, so let's take a moment to look at this picture, right? So we have customer on one side of the picture, and then we have a beautiful service teams that we are all part of, right? So there's a huge disconnect between the customer's experience today and the kind of experience the service teams or people who are part of the contact center teams. So there's a lot of gap in there, and the responsibility on us too is to bridge this gap together, right? And you would understand the best part here is even these individuals who are part of the service team, they are really someone who are willing to help out their customers, but the kind of tools and the kind of screens that they are exposed in with makes it little difficult for them to live up to the expectations with which the current age customer is having, right? So that's wherein we have put down a couple of pointers here. The economy is changing. The cost constraints when it comes to the organizations, right? Everybody wants to do a lot of stuff with lesser amount of efforts and resources, right? So a lot of things are changing in there. And I spoke about the experiences, right? People want to reach out to you via all the new channels which are introduced, right? They want to be reaching out to you via WhatsApp, mobile application, chat, phone call. And the best part is they want their experiences to be seamless, and they want you to know about them more than they know about themselves, right? That's wherein the new technologies have to play a very critical role in bridging this gap together, all right? So just take a look at the day in life of a contact center executive. As of now, as you can see, the average number of applications which the organizations today have is more than 1,000, making the lives of those agents really difficult. They have to hop in and hop off from one screen, one browser, one tab to another, one system to another system, just to get that relevant data which can help them resolve the customer queries in the best possible fashion. So that's a very big challenge, right? So you see multiple screens are here. So in how we plan to basically help you, I'll talk about that also. But that was from a customer service agent's perspective, and then this is a customer just like you and me. And our expectation is that every single interaction should be relevant for me, personalized for me. You should not be speaking the things which might sound irritable to me, right? I'll give you a personal experience. Couple of days back, right? Last year, what I did is I purchased a smartwatch for my father. He takes care of my son, who is 3-year-old. Right? He takes him to the park daily. So I thought, let's gift him a smartwatch wherein he'll be able to take the phone calls over the watch and making it easy for him. Not just taking calls over Bluetooth. So this was a device wherein it will be activated by a eSIM. So even if the phone is not in the vicinity, you can take the calls. So that was the idea. So I bought this, and once I reached back home, I realized that for this to be activated over the watch, you need to be a postpaid subscriber, right? The prepaid numbers don't work on these watches. So that's wherein I ported the mobile number of my father from prepaid to postpaid. And as time would have it, eventually there are a lot of other challenges also with these smart devices. It didn't kept the watch for long. He said there's a lot of challenge. I have to charge it daily, and I don't have that much time, so I'll not be able to use it further. So he requested me to shift back to the prepaid number, because I mean the monthly bill was, I think, almost 700, 800 rupees, right? So eventually I called in the call center team, and I happened to be the customer of one of the top 3 telecom players that we have in our country, right? So I was told that I need to visit the store to get this simple change done. And for me, in today's scenario, that was a really big disconnect. So I said, I mean, I'll rather be a postpaid customer. I don't have the time to go to the store and request for this. But eventually, 1 year passed. I was there in a mall. I saw a outlet of some other telecom provider. I went in there, and they took my request. They said, you give me your Aadhaar card, and I'll be able to change your number from a postpaid, bring it onto our services, and activate this as a prepaid number. I did that, and in a couple of hours, I get a retention call, as you would expect it, right, from the previous telecom provider. So this lady tells me, sir, tell me why you're porting. I told her the exact issue. And this time around, she tells me, sir, don't worry, you don't need to go to the store. I'll do it right away for you, right? So number will be activated as prepaid. So I was a little happy and surprised. I thought, I mean, why did it take for me to do all these things to get this done, right? So but still, I was a loyal customer for them. I retained myself with them. And then let's fast forward for 1 more month. I was driving my car heading for a meeting. I get a call from a lady, and this happens to be a lady from the not the retention, from the recovery team of the previous. By the way, I was also told that all the outstandings will be waived off just for the fact that you're retaining with us. So 1 month later, when this lady calls me, she starts off the interaction, she starts off the phone call by speaking really rude words. I was really taken aback. So what is this happening? I was heading for a meeting. I was really in a good state of mind. And she, in a way, kind of ruined my day by speaking a lot of things as if I had made a default. I have not done a payment of my home loan. So that is the kind of feeling that I had. So she told me, sir, I'll keep on bothering you for the next couple of days as long as you do not clear your dues. So I said, ma'am, I've been told that my outstandings have been cleared. So you please check in with your prepaid team or retention team. It is all sorted. She was not able to, she didn't listen in to me. Right, so that's wherein one day later I called in the prepaid retention team, and they kind of corrected all the details in the system, and eventually it was all sorted. But the kind of experience, the thing I am trying to highlight here is this small, although this might be a small touch point from an organization's perspective, but for me this was a very bad experience, right? So I had a lot of perception about this big brand, right? I kept myself retained with this customer, with this company, but eventually I thought I'll rather move into the next provider, right? So let's talk about the technical challenges in this scenario which I've just stated, right? So what we need to do as an organization is we need to scale the service. When I say scale the service, the interactions have to be seamless, and the single source of data should be present in front of you if you are part of the service team, right? So in this case, the process was not automated. So there were different teams working in silos, right? Somebody is putting in some data in there, and to my surprise, the prepaid team told me, sir, why are you telling this to me? The only reason now you are on a prepaid number is because all your previous dues are cleared. So that's not logical at first place itself that somebody is asking you for the previous dues, right? So we need to automate the operations in a very, you say, seamless fashion, so that everybody is on the same page. If I am part of a retention team or versus a recovery team, the view about Raman as a customer should be similar. And maybe I was rather expecting that she'll tell me, Raman, thank you for being a loyal customer. You have been using our services. You've been spending 700 rupees every month, and your father is not even using the data. He's always connected to the Wi-Fi. He's not making phone calls. So she should have been grateful for me for the services that I was using, right? The second is personalizing every engagement with intelligence. So let's assume these things happen in this. But the biggest disconnect that I had in this scenario is the kind of words she was using. There was no system possibly, I'm not sure what was the screen that she was on while she was speaking to me, that this is how you should be starting off a conversation with the customer, even if he's not a loyal customer or a HNI or a VIP, right? So that's about it. And finally, every channel has to be connected. So this time around it is a phone call, maybe I might be sending you an email later. So the experience for me as a customer should be seamless. That's wherein we really recommend our customers, our prospects to scale the kind of service across all these three buckets. So there are three different categories when it comes to customer service. First is the high touch interactions, then are the low touch interaction, and finally the no touch interaction. So you can't say that we want to be on no touch across all the channels. That's not a possibility. You have to keep a very thin balance between all these three types and categories of support basically which you are providing. There are certain instances wherein high touches, wherein somebody actually comes to your house as a field technician, repairs your AC, or maybe repairs your Alexa. That's wherein a field visit is actually needed. Versus some low touch interactions which possibly we can divert from high touch to low touch, right? Instead of somebody coming to your home and having a look at the AC and saying, ma'am, you just need to press this button for 5 seconds and you will be done. Instead of he coming home, this could have been handled via a visual assistance channel, wherein there is an SME, subject matter expert, sitting in the office. He establishes a video connection with the customer and is able to do the basic troubleshooting then and there itself. And the third important category here is no touch, wherein we want, and rather you should want, that all your customers should be self-sufficient, the kind of tools and technology that you provide to your customers, so that they can do a lot of their stuff by themselves. All of us, because we all happen to be in one way or other customers of each other also, right? So we should be, and we are all educated enough, at least this class of people, that they can do a lot of stuff themselves. They can use the mobile application, they can raise requests, they can check the status. So why to bother the contact center teams for trivial issues, right? While we can do it ourselves. So I've still not moved into the AI and automation domain, although these three aspects cover a lot of those underlying technologies. So that's how you eventually need to scale. And when I say the other aspect of scaling is, so all these experiences we should aim that are all enabled on one single platform, Because if you have different platform, different tool for telephony, different system for video call, another system for field service, right? So it ends up disconnecting a lot of those experiences for your teams also, and eventually for your customers, right? And just to introduce you with the Salesforce capabilities, this we call as the donut of offerings that Salesforce has to offer to you when it comes to the entire comprehensive customer 360-degree view, right? So we have the sales automation capabilities, as you would know, marketing, service, right, and couple of other things I'll briefly touch upon in my forthcoming slides also. We have something called as Slack, which is a collaborative tool which enables your organizations to be working digitally for knowledge sharing. I mean, I'll not spend time on sales, service, and marketing. That's basic. I mean, you would have heard a lot about it. Then we have Tableau, the world-class analytics application. So these are all recent acquisitions, not recent, couple of years that we have done. We have MuleSoft, the integration layer, right? And finally, Net Zero. I'll touch base upon the Net Zero very quickly once I'm into the GPT discussion, right? So a quick demo, don't worry, it's not going to be a long demo, it's a couple of slides that I have collated here. So this is again the power of using the power of automation and AI. AI is a very loosely used term. I'll talk about the evolution of AI also in a bit from now, right? So just to give you a perspective, on a daily basis, the Salesforce platform, the application are processing to the orders of 215 billion predictions every day. These are called Einstein predictions, as I said. Einstein is the AI engine which we have here at Salesforce, right? So couple of scenarios, couple of use cases wherein the AI can be used when it comes to automating and making the lives of your agents as well as your customer easy. The first one is case classification and routing. Classification is a very strong word. I'll tell you why later. Right, so this screen is nothing. Say for example, you as a customer have sent an email to a designated email ID that say my router is not responding. So instead of you waiting for the other team members to categorize what is this complaint looking like, is it related to hardware request, is it related to a tech support, or maybe it is related, subcategory could be setup and usage. So instead of we relying on some manual intervention, which eventually possibly could take up a lot of resources and eventually the timelines will be increased, why not system in itself is intelligent enough to categorize these incoming requests, and not just categorize, case routing is the second part. So depending upon the categorization, you can route it to the right set of queues, right set of members, so they can take the actions thereon. And I'll tell you another concept here which we use at Salesforce. It is called human in the loop. So it is not that we are completely dependent on the AI part of it. We want the agents to have a double click into this. If the recommendations are valid, you click on accept, otherwise you can also give up your recommendation. So this is how I would want it to be modified. So eventually, so that's how the recommendations are applied, right? So this one is knowledge recommendation. So this is the second part of the AI story, wherein the system will recommend you certain knowledge articles. Seems very simple and easy to understand, but it is not as simple, right? Because eventually, why your agents are taking a lot of time? Because they have no idea what information is to be shared with your customers. That is wherein the system understands the relevance of all repository of data that you have in the system, right? The kind of things that you have been using for other cases in the past, previous agents have been using. Not just that, the knowledge articles can be exposed in a controlled fashion to all the stakeholders of your organization, be it your partners, customers, and depending upon the usage by them, these relevance start building up. So for this case, which is laptop is overheating, so the relevance of this article is 91%. So I can rate it. So 651 people have rated is really helpful for the scenario, right? So let's move ahead a little fast. So this is the next best action, which is a very powerful tool for helping your agents doing the cross-sell and upsells, right? So say for example, somebody is having a bad experience over chat, he's complaining about a lot of things. So system is recommending, let her calm down, let the customer calm down. You recommend or propose a offer which we have for her. Why and how this recommendations come up, again, is the part of the backend to decide how those models are created to give up these recommendations, right? And the next part is reply recommendations. You are a support agent replying to my conversations over chat, right? So these are the kind of recommendations that you get from the systems in terms of the best replies that you can share with the customer. The laptop is not working, overheating. So instead of agent telling, okay, tell me what is the further problem, the recommendation is, so this is the best reply. So sorry to hear about it. The first thing for your safety we request you is please shut down the laptop. A very simple case. But this is how you make sure that all the policies and the guidelines when it comes to support are taken care of. If not manually, by the system. And finally, yeah, case wrap recommendations. Once a case is terminated, closed, so the systems help you classifying the outcome of those cases also. So after analyzing the chat, the system is telling this looked like this issue, this was the subcategory. If that is okay, let's go ahead, right? So this was very quickly about a couple of the key functionalities that AI had to enable. We really want to be enabled by AI for the contact center executives. Now let's talk about the next big concept, which is GPT, generative pre-trained transformers, as we call it. It's a very big term, right? And a couple of statistics here why GPT is a really big opportunity for all of us. We as vendors, you as customers, everybody is looking. Even our end customers are really exciting. I mean, I am really surprised to see the kind of people who are using ChatGPT as a medium. I have a sister-in-law in my house. She's a teacher. She didn't even know to use laptop properly, and these days around she's using ChatGPT to prepare her lectures and presentations. Likewise, we have a couple of students around who are using GPT for a couple of use cases, right? So now let's try to understand what is AI and link it back to GPT. So AI is a very, I would say, distorted term that we have been listening from ages now, right? And this is all thanks to the kind of science fiction novels that we read and the sci-fi movies that we have been watching for quite some time. So that is wherein the idea of AI a little confusing for all of us, right? And in terms of how to best define an AI is another problem that we have. The reason for that is we as individuals think really highly of ourselves as individuals. We think that we are the epitome of intelligence. And when it comes to artificial intelligence, we end up comparing even the AI with the kind of intelligence that we have as human. But that's not the case as nature would have it. Even the smallest of the smallest insects and animals have some capabilities. They are also using some tools and methodologies to do a certain kind of action. And they are possibly much better than us as human beings in there. So the idea that I'm trying to say in here is when it comes to AI, so it is not a generic AI, which eventually is going to be the future of AI coming in a couple of years from now. But for now, the kind of AI that we use is specific to specific types of work. So I have categorized AI into 4 major buckets for you to very easily understand and comprehend. The first is numeric predictions, wherein the systems are supposed to help you do certain numerical calculations. So what is the kind of numbers that I can expect from the sales in the next month or the next quarter? That is one, right? Or maybe is it going to be in a scale of 1 to 5 or not? So that is wherein number-based predictions are given in by the system. The second is robotic navigation, wherein we have these AI-controlled cars and vehicles and even automating supply chain for that particular matter, right? So they are able to see a roadblock is there, winds are coming in, and how to automatically train the cars to help themselves out. But the next 2 critical classifications, critical categories of AI are classification, as I said earlier, and the second is language processing, right? Classification looks simple, but that's the basic core element before taking further actions, right? A simple example, whether a plant is edible or it is poisonous for us to eat, right? So I need to categorize this plant into a specific set of bucket, right, for me to take my action from there on, right? Or if this email which I received as a contact center agent, is it a legitimate email or possibly phishing attempt on me? So that is wherein classification plays an important part when it comes to AI. And the last part is language processing, and GPT happens to be one of the examples wherein the systems are pre-trained to take the intentions and the intent out of the words that somebody is typing in, and collate the information together and throw you up with certain relevant information in terms of the images, sounds, or even modifying the words kind of as a matter of output that you get out of it, right? NLP is again a big term that is part of this language related automation, right? So that is wherein I want to introduce you with the Salesforce Service GPT. Again, it's a GPT enabled platform. There are a couple of concepts in here. I'll not spend time in here. We can talk about that in detail. Wherein the idea is you can accelerate your customer experiences using the power of AI, the CRM that you have, and the data. So all these three are the critical components that enable you using GPT when it comes to customer service interactions, right? So a couple of the features are mentioned in here. They are all in pilot right as of now, but they will be launched really very soon. And how does the GPT for service, Einstein GPT for service work, right? We have a gateway, and these are the list of existing public foundational models, right? So using the APIs, we use the power of these foundational models like ChatGPT. Not just that, we have our own internal LLMs, as we call it, large language models, like CodeGen. You use and club the power of public information with the LLMs that you have internally built in, and expose it further for all the experiences related to your customers across the CRM life cycle, service, sales, or marketing, right? So that's the overall intention, and it is backed by the AI and data cloud capabilities of Salesforce. All right, and finally, one second, this is done. Yeah, and our approach for GPT is very simple. These are the 4 key pillars when it comes to how we are treating GPT here at Salesforce. This is based on trust, relevance, security, and ecosystem. Not spending much time here is trust, which also happens to be one of our core values, and we spend a lot of our energies just to make sure that every data and everything related to our customers is in a trusted platform. If time allows, you can have a look on the publicly available website called trust.salesforce.com, wherein we enable all our customers, all our stakeholders to have a look at how the operations and what is the kind of performance that the Salesforce applications have to offer into you. But when it comes to GPT, it is really important that the PII is not leaked, right? How do you use the publicly available models with the power of the CRM data that you have, so that, as they call it, the data hallucination does not happen. The data that comes into you, for you to share it across with your customers, should be accurate, which is not the case in the public GPT scenarios as of now. It has to be authentic and accurate for your customers, right? That's wherein, again, like I said, we have a human in the loop just to make sure everything is relevant for your customers, right? So it has to be related to the database, vast amount of data that you have about your customers. And finally, the ecosystem. So we are not saying that you end up using the LLM models that Salesforce have to offer into you, because we are all in a progressive state when it comes to GPT. So we are giving the flexibility to our customers wherein they can decide and they can choose what all models they want to use when they would want to enable the service GPT experiences for their contact center teams and the customers, right? So very quick demo for Einstein GPT. So it's just 1 minute demo. Let me just, if you can just play it. So this is a live chat interaction.
This is Einstein GPT for service. Here I'm getting a chat message from a customer asking a question about the temperature rating of an NTO jacket. Before I can even think about an answer, Einstein GPT suggests a response. That response is contextual and relevant because Einstein GPT uses data from all clouds, unified with Data Cloud.
So this is the
Now,
recommendation which the
agents can
agent is
always
getting
edit the
in
generated
real time,
response, but this one looks good, so
coming
I'm
from
gonna
the
post
commerce
it.
platform.
The customer is asking
question was
another
simple.
question, and it looks
The
like it
answer
has
was
more
very
context.
comprehensive.
A ski trip to Grand
The next
Tartary.
question.
Again, Einstein
And this
GPT
time around, the
external
reply
data, like
is
weather
being sourced
conditions and
from a
CRM
public
data,
source,
to
right?
provide a relevant
Something
response
about
and
the
personalized
weather at a
recommendations.
specific location, a kind of cross-sells that you can do.
Before, agents
So
had
this
to
is a
look up knowledge
comprehensive
articles, read
response
them,
that
extract
goes into
the
the
relevant
customer,
information, and write the
right?
response in the chat. Now, Einstein GPT automates all these steps and
So that's wherein
automatically
I was
suggests
telling,
the right
clubbing the
response.
power of publicly available information using the GPT models and the data you have about your customers, right? And
Now the
finally,
issue
I
is
think
resolved,
I
and
think
I'm
we can
ready to
move ahead.
wrap up the case.
That's done.
Einstein GPT. This is Einstein.
Yeah, closing thoughts. See again, I spoke about the relevance of scaling your service for your customer teams, how you can enable those high touch, low touch and no touch interactions, right? And we spoke about the concept of automation and AI and specifically GPT. And when it comes to GPT, like I was telling earlier, it has a lot of implication when it comes to sustainability, the kind of carbon footprint it has. So that is wherein we have a dedicated solution called Net Zero Cloud, which helps organization like that of yours to take informed decisions when it comes to the carbon emissions that you're doing, in terms of the carbon credits that you can buy from other stakeholders, which are called ecopreneurs in our terms. People, it's like a app, a marketplace for you, wherein you can interact with other people and buy credits and do a lot of stuff when it comes to taking decisions around sustainability. So that was about it, and see you at the booth if you have any further questions. I will be happy to host you there. Thank you.